Welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice. Join me as we explore spirituality, self-help, and channeling spirits. Hello and welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice, spiritual medium. Thank you for joining in. This week we're going to have an action-packed discussion as we're going to be talking about Ascension symptoms. Also in this week's episode we have the channeling from the world of spirit, which sees me becoming a vessel for spirit to bring their wisdoms and communications through. And then later on in this episode we have this week's energy forecast reading, which will hopefully help you navigate your way through the twists and turns of this week ahead. So let's crack on. As I say, we're going to be discussing the topic of Ascension symptoms. First of all, what is Ascension? Well, Ascension, in my experience, is where we receive energetic and biological upgrades. And I like to use the analogy of a mobile phone. Now, most people own one of these things now. And you'll know that various points throughout the course of the year of owning that phone, you get a notification that your phone needs an upgrade. Why does it need an upgrade? Because the technology is changing. The way that the phone operates and connects with this technology is changing. And so in order for that to connect with the technology and receive and send information, then it needs to have these software upgrades to enable the phone to operate faster, smoother, and to be more efficient with data and with energy resources. So using that analogy, you can see how we can associate these same things with ourselves, our energetic and physical body. So what is happening when we receive an Ascension upgrade? Basically, is we're getting these codes, frequencies installed within our energetic and physical body. We're also receiving DNA upgrades, which enables us to also operate to our highest ability in this dimension and work with the energy that we have more efficiently, just like the mobile phone, and enables us to connect into different realms. This being one of them, planet Earth, the other one being our higher self, and connecting with our ancestors and spirit guides. So in my experience, this is why we experience Ascension upgrades, so that we can perform, if you will, at our very best and also be aware of all of this information around us. So with this being said, I want to suggest to everybody here that's listening that you don't necessarily have to be a medium or sensitive to experience having these Ascension upgrades. I would suggest that we all have them, but we just keep calm and carry on, and we don't necessarily notice that this is what's happening. We just assume, oh, I've got this, and oh, I feel like this, oh, I've got this. And we just naturally assume that it'll pass, it'll go, and we don't think nothing of it. You know, sometimes people associate these symptoms with medical issues. And I'm no doctor, but I want to say where energy upgrades are concerned, this is not the case. It may feel like that initially, but it's not the case, because these symptoms go very, very quickly. They come in and they go very, very quickly. They do not linger. That is the difference between this and a medical issue. So, with this being said, like we say, we all experience it on some level. Some people are hypersensitive, recognize the symptoms, recognize what's going on, And they instantly know, yes, it's an upgrade, an Ascension upgrade that I'm experiencing. Got nothing to worry about. Whereas other people, as I say, will just think they've got an ailment, a problem with the physical body, or they've got, they'll keep calm and they'll carry on and they'll ignore it, not recognizing that this is what it is. So I'm not having a go at anybody by doing that. I'm just pointing it out that we all experience it on one level or another. Those of you that are hypersensitive and are mediums or sensitive beings, you will be more aware of it and you maybe question it a little bit more than perhaps most people would. So with this being said, these upgrades enable us to interact with dimensions. As I say, this planet that we're on also allows us to receive influence from our higher self. And our higher self is the energetic version of ourself that can transcend through different dimensions. When we have a dominant thought, when we have an idea, when we have a knowing beyond our physicality, this is our higher self communicating with us. So these Ascension symptoms and upgrades allow us to connect in on a stronger and intensified level where we can receive that influence from our higher self, that guidance. We can also connect in with our spirit guides on an easier level there and receive their influence. And with having said this, a lot of you will be doing this without even realizing it. For example, how many times have you had a eureka moment? You've had an idea that's come out of the blue from nowhere. You had no intention of thinking these things, these ideas to make your life easier or the life of others easier, and it's just popped in your head out of the blue. I would say that is a result of you having a heightened state of awareness, which comes with these Ascension upgrades. So it benefits one and all when you're aware of this is what's happening behind the scenes. So let's go through some of these Ascension symptoms so that you can familiarize yourself with what is happening and that there's nothing to worry or panic about when these things are happening. So the first obvious one that a lot of you will be familiar with is ringing in the ears. Now, this is a peculiar sensation because it either happens in both ears at the same time, or in my experience, it's either the left or the right, mostly the left with me. And I often turn the left ear when I hear this high-pitched shrill noise. I believe that this is energetic or angelic downloads coming in from the angel community when it hits in my left ear. Now, when I get these symptoms in my right ear, I associate that with my spirit guides and my spirit team. Again, receiving these Ascension upgrades. Now, what you will have in the ears, I'll quickly demonstrate it. So it comes in a high-pitched shrill sound, something like this. And it will be annoying. And it will last for, I would say, in most part, maximum about a minute in length. Usually it's 20 to 30 seconds. But as you're experiencing that sound in either one of your ears or both at the same time, what it will feel like is it will feel like, there's no better way of putting this, but it will feel like somebody's putting a knitting needle through the center of your head and it's going right through, and it will give you that sensation of like a bit of a pain, like a bit of a, ooh, ow, 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 ooh. Very uncomfortable, albeit for a few moments there. Like I say, between 20 seconds to 1 minute in length. Usually not any longer than that. And it will feel very uncomfortable. You'll hear the sound, you'll feel those sensations, and when it disperses, it will fade away like a, and then your hearing will return back to normal. And you'll want to shake your head, and you'll just want to like recalibrate yourself, because you can imagine that sensation of a knitting needle going through the center of your head with that sound at the same time is very uncomfortable. So you'll try and gather your momentum, gather your thoughts, and get yourself back into reality. So that's one of the symptoms that you will receive. And what's happening there, I like to liken this experience. Anybody that's old enough to remember this, when computer games, you had to load them up through a cassette tape. And when there were these games and programs were loading up, you would hear all of this sort of binary code and computer language, like all these sort of weird sounds. Well, that is, I would say, the software, the program, the information being installed into that experience of that computer so that you could play the game or go on the program there. So using that analogy, it is in my experience that this is what's happening when you're hearing these sounds. They're installing different frequency codes, different packets of information that's going to help you to progress in your timeline at a higher sensitive vibration. So I believe it is information that's being installed into you when you're hearing this. Now, there's other symptoms that I'm going to describe to you. Another one is getting that muscular aches and pains down the arms, down the legs. Also, it can penetrate into the bones as well. And again, this doesn't necessarily last for long periods of time. It's longer than obviously 30 seconds to 1 minute. To me, this can like last a day or so, nothing longer than that. It doesn't linger. It kind of comes on. It intensifies that aching feeling, almost like flu-like symptoms, you know, that lethargic, achy feeling. You'll feel that. And again, I believe, and it's in my experience, that you are receiving some either DNA reconfigurations. There's some alterations that are occurring with your physical vessel, your body there. And some of these aches and pains is your body actually processing this new energetic codes, language, frequency that's occurring behind the scenes. Again, all of these things are to make you more sensitive, more attuned in your environment, and also giving you the opportunity to connect with other dimensions. As I always say, it is in my belief that we are transmitters and receivers of information. We can tap into thought energy. We can connect into different realms. We can leave our body whilst we're sleeping and go astral traveling. And we can connect with spirit. And all these magical and wonderful things, I certainly believe, are enhanced by receiving these ascension symptoms and upgrades. So first of all, don't panic. When it is an ascension symptom, it won't last for long. If it's a physical ailment, you know, such as a genuine flu or any other medical condition, it will linger and it will stay there. Usually it's half a day, just over a day at the most. Whereas if you had a flu or something like that, it would linger and intensify, and it would take a few weeks to get rid of. With an ascension symptom in this manner, it goes, like I say, within a day, just over a day, not longer than that. There's other symptoms that you will experience. One of them is brain fog. Now, everybody that's listening to this will have experienced this on some level. And it's where you can't seem to grasp or hold on to one specific thought for long periods of time. And you find yourself becoming very forgetful with what you have to do, with conversations that you're having, and where you've put things. And this will come out of nowhere, and you'll just find it so difficult to latch onto one thought. And it will become very annoying, very frustrating to you. And I want to say again, like with all ascension symptoms, this doesn't last for long periods of time. It's only for a short period of time. And it can be anything, like I say, with around a day, just over a day, nothing longer than that. So if it is longer than that, then what I would certainly advise you all to do is to go and seek medical advice. I'm not a doctor. I'm just describing to you the Ascension symptoms. Usually speaking, it's a day or around a day that you will have this experience. Any longer, then definitely consult a medical professional, in my opinion. Like I say, forgetfulness, it can be very frustrating. That, as we all know, we've all been there at some point in our lives. And I would say why this is happening, again, the wiring of your brain, your receivers, your transmitters, receivers are changing and they're sharpening up. You're getting an upgrade. And to enable you to receive those upgrades, obviously, the brain has to reset. And this is why it slows down, in my opinion, so that all of those things are happening behind the scenes. And you start to then get a high level of sensitivity, inspiration, creativity coming in after you've received this. I also want to say that some of you may experience difficulties with your speech. And what I mean by this is where you're tripping over your words. In your brain, you have a word that you want to communicate, and yet when you speak, an alternative word pops through, comes out, and you didn't intend that. To me, that is also a sign of these Ascension symptoms. And as we know, you've probably heard me do that many times on this show, where I'm tripping over my words and I'm intending to say a word and another one comes out. To me, that is part of the Ascension symptoms. Also, as you know, I channel spirit. So when I experience that as well, I feel as though spirit are jumping in, finding a better word to use and running with that. Even though my brain's telling me to say a certain word, spirit jump in. So that is my experience of that. But when it happens to you, when you're receiving Ascension symptoms, it can be very frustrating. And it's to get you in alignment. It's, as you know, when we speak, we emit frequencies, tones, and tones and frequencies are vibration. Vibrations can be very healing. And even just listening to somebody speak can be very calming, very relaxing, very healing. And I would say that this is contributed by having these Ascension symptoms, because spirit can then infuse this healing energy through your voice frequencies, which upon anybody else receiving that information, listening to you, in other words, and they're open to it, can receive those healing codes and also receive those Ascension symptoms through you just by listening to your voice. That is my experience, certainly. So the voice and the speech can be affected by this. Also your sight, your vision. You may have bouts or periods of time where your vision is going in and out of focus. All of a sudden it becomes very blurry and you're rubbing your eyes and then it returns to normal again and then it goes back to blurry again. And this may happen again for quick, brief moments in time, just like the ear symptoms I was describing. Maybe a minute, 2 minutes at the most, but it doesn't stay there for long. Whereas if it was a medical condition, obviously that would be there for a longer period of time. So just watch out for that. And again, if it does persist, then please do consult a medical professional. But when it happens very briefly, very quickly, in my experience, this is part of the Ascension symptoms. So there's nothing to worry about there if you're experiencing it just for brief periods of time. You'll also notice that your sensitivity to food and drink will change, will be amplified. Maybe food that you've ate for years and you've enjoyed, you love that food, all of a sudden has a different impact on you than it has before. A reaction. Maybe it doesn't taste the same. Maybe it tastes sour or sweeter than you perceived it previously to receiving these Ascension symptoms. And therefore it puts you off from eating that food And so you move on to other food or drink that is in alignment with you, that makes you feel comfortable, that doesn't trigger you any sour or sweet tastes, and just makes you feel more energized by eating or drinking those substances. So you'll notice this sensitivity to that as well. And for some of you, this could be quite a shock because, like I say, if you've enjoyed particular foods for many years, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, from nowhere, it changes. And you're like, what the heck is going on here? Wow, I've always ate that. There's never been a problem like that before. Again, this can be part of the Ascension symptoms. Your vibration is changing. And so anything that doesn't match that vibration because of the Ascension symptoms you've experienced will have to leave your vibration. So food and drink being one of them. And don't worry, you will find and link in and vibrationally aligned with other food and drinks that is in alignment with the new version of yourself there. I've got to say, now, this is not a pleasant thing to talk about, but Ascension symptoms can also affect you going to the toilet more regular than often. And, you know, when you haven't ate certain foods to trigger this, and you're going to the loo, you know, maybe doing a number 1 or a number 2, let's not get too graphic with this, more excessively than normal, then again, this can be part of the Ascension symptoms. And what your body is doing is literally having a clear out of those old vibrations, those old toxins that are no longer relative or relevant to the physical and energetic body anymore. So it does this very rapidly, I would say, and you'll find yourself visiting the loo, I would say over a period of 24 hours, something like that. Nothing more, I would say, but you'll notice that you'll be going more regularly and you won't be able to understand it. I would say that this is also an Ascension symptom. And like I say, the reason it's happening is your body is releasing those toxins, those vibrations that it doesn't necessarily need anymore after having these Ascension symptoms. So there's a few suggestions there and things to look out for to let you know that you are going through an Ascension upgrade. If these things that I've spoken about, these symptoms, persist longer than the periods of time that I've quoted you, then obviously I would certainly recommend that you go and seek professional medical advice just to get it looked at a little bit further there. But in my personal experience, when it is an Ascension symptom, it doesn't last for long. Nothing too longer than a day. And then you're back to normal again. So just watch out for that. Now, when you're going through this process, it can be quite frustrating. As you can imagine, everything I've described to you there, all of that happening at different stages within the course of, shall we say, 24 hours. And you're like, what the heck is going off? What's happening now? Why am I going to the loo? Why can't I eat that food? All of these things can be frustrating. What do you need to do to feel comfortable, more in alignment whilst you're going through these Ascension symptoms? Well, let's give you a few tips, shall we? So I would certainly recommend, first of all, that you assess your lifestyle. Most of us in this modern day world, we fill all the gaps. We get busy. We allocate our time to different projects, people, shall we say, responsibilities, to the point where we're leaving ourselves short of time for ourselves. So my first piece of advice would be, you won't like to hear this, but you need to slow down. You need to reprioritize and maybe ask for help. You know, say if you're a working mom or working dad, and, you know, ask for help for the children to be picked up. That's one less job that you have to do. Maybe grocery shopping, if somebody offers you some help with that, accept that offer of help. Again, slow down, reprioritize, slow down whilst you're going through these Ascension symptoms. Now, I know there will be lots of people listening to this thinking, I can't do that. It's just me. Nobody's going to do this for me. Well, again, if that is the case, reprioritize what is the most important. Obviously, without you being in that equation, then none of those things can be done. So you need to look after yourself, and you need to be aware of that. So slow down. Be gentle with yourself. A lot of us beat ourselves up about not completing certain tasks, not being responsible, not being reliable. A lot of us beat ourselves up with that. But when you're going through these changes, obviously it can be quite dramatic. It can be full on, depending upon what your vibration is, the codes that you are receiving. So I would say, be gentle with yourself. Don't put yourself down. Take your time and just go through the situation. In order to really fully embrace what's going on, I would certainly recommend some time out. So again, this is reprioritizing. Maybe those of you that fill your days up, all the gaps up with activities and responsibilities, can then actually say, well, actually, I'm not doing that today. I need to rest. I need to just be. I need to sit. I just need to chill out for a bit. And by doing this will certainly make life a lot easier for you whilst you're going through these ascension symptoms. They won't linger around you for longer periods of time. You'll notice that those transmissions that you are receiving energetically, physically, will come and go very quickly because you're just being here now with them and you're aware that this is what is happening. So getting plenty of rest there. And again, don't feel guilty about doing this. A lot of us that are listening, like I say, we like to fill our lives up with so much opportunities, so many projects and responsibilities. So don't feel guilty for taking time out. Many of you have been brought up that, if you're sitting about, you're being lazy, you're being idle. Well, in this occasion, you are not. You are allowing these ascension upgrades to be installed. There's no resistance there, so it's going to happen a lot quicker. Less pain, less irritation for you with you allowing that. So when I know that I'm going through this process, generally what I do is I'll maybe put a TV show on, something light-hearted like a comedy or a classic TV show. And I'll just have that on and I'll watch that and I'll just be aware of the symptoms as they are happening. I will know what's happening and I'll just let them flow through me rather than resisting it and worrying and panicking about the symptoms, just allowing it to be. And then, like I say, it happens a lot quickly. I start to feel the changes. I start to recalibrate and allow all of those things to happen behind the scenes there with no resistance from myself. If you can be like that, then you will find that when these ascension symptoms are being installed, and they can come at random times throughout the course of your day, week, month, or year. You don't necessarily know when they're going to come in. They'll come in when you're ready, when you need that vibrational alignment. Maybe when you're moving into a new chapter into your life and you've completed all the tasks in your previous chapter and life's changing for you. Usually this is when the ascension symptoms come in and you'll experience these things I'm talking about today. So taking a little bit of time out for you. You don't have to, you don't have to plot out an entire week of nothingness. That's not what I'm prescribing. I'm just saying be observant and don't feel guilty about taking a little bit of time out for these things to be installed within you. And that way there'll be no resistance and it will happen very quickly. And you'll be very grateful that you followed this advice whilst you're going through this. I would also say that most of you listening, I would recommend that you spend some time alone. Now, I know a lot of people feel uncomfortable in their own energy, their own vibration, and they like to be in the company of others. I get that. I understand that. After all, we're humans. We're social beings. We're meant to interact with people. But I would say with this process, just spend a little bit of time on your own. Maybe put the TV on, listen to your favorite music if you need to, because that way you'll get the necessary, I would say, upgrades, the energy. You'll get all of these things installed into you without any external influence as such, vibrationally. And I'm talking about obviously other people's energy, their vibrations. So spending time alone, I feel as though, is important going through this, and it will make it feel a lot more comfortable for you. And I would also recommend, if you can, to ground and anchor your energy. Now, what I'm talking about here is being present, not being stuck in your thoughts, worrying about the past, not projecting your thoughts into the future, just being here now, being present, being observational of the things that you are experiencing, and allow them to flow through you. A great piece of advice I'd give you to ground your energy is to get out into nature. Even if you happen to maybe sit on a park bench for half an hour, just watch the world go by, being present in that moment and embracing all of those beautiful colours, those sounds, watching the birds, watching nature in that present moment. That will help you with these Ascension upgrades and downloads. That will make it flow in and out of you, and it will happen very, very quickly. So you will notice this, definitely. I've got to say, don't worry. It will pass. It doesn't last for long when you're going through Ascension symptoms. Just rest up like I've prescribed, so to speak, and it will pass. Just go with the flow, observe, let it move through you, and it will change in no time. Now, after you've received all of these upgrades, I want you to notice and recognize the subtle changes in your vibration, in your energy. And what I mean by this, you may not even realize it at that moment in time. You may get other people talking to you and recognizing that change within you. One classic one that people say is, they'll say, you've got a glow about you. You appear different. You're happy. You've got a sparkle about you. So I don't know what it is, but you're just beaming right now. People can spot that. They can see that in your vibration, that it has changed. This purity, this beautiful ray of light is around you. Not necessarily physically, but they can sense it in your presence, and it becomes very obvious to them. You may not be aware of it in that moment, but it will take a few people to actually notice, and you'll be like, oh, okay, you'll accept it then. But recognize these subtle changes. You may notice that your vocabulary will have changed. You may start coming out with a wide range of words that you've never even used in any sentence that you've communicated with anybody. And all of a sudden, it's as if you've swallowed a dictionary and you're spouting out these beautiful poetic words whilst you're communicating. This is one of the things to notice, the subtle changes that have occurred in your vibration. Another thing could be you pick up empathically on other people's energies. You know, even though they're telling you things, they're saying the right things, they're acting and doing what they say, but their vibration, their essence, isn't tallying up with both of those elements that they're portraying. You may be more perceptive of that energy, having gone through these Ascension symptoms. Also, telepathy. You'll know what somebody else is thinking. You'll just hear it in your own head as if it's your own thought. This potentially is another element that may have been upgraded within you. I say upgraded because it's been said many times that in actual fact we all have this as a natural ability, but it's only through generational, shall we say, control and generational ideals that have actually blocked and suppressed this natural ability of telepathy. A lot of animals use it. For example, we are part of the animal kingdom in some respects. So why would all the animal kingdom have it and we don't? We do have it. It's the fact that it's been suppressed. So what you may notice is with these ascension symptoms, some of those old blocks that have been stopping these abilities will have been removed so that you will experience these changes happening in and around your vibration. Also, you may recognize that your friendship circles may change. And again, this is because you have changed vibrationally. And so the old must leave in order for the new to enter that is in vibrational alignment with the truth of who you are in your new present moment consciousness. So just be aware of that. Don't take offense if you don't get that phone call or that message from people. Just accept that this is an energetic thing. Vibrationally, you're aligning with a different set of individuals there. And they will come in. You'll notice that people will be magnetically aligned and drawn to you. And you'll have so many things in common as you move forward and accept where you're at vibrationally. So I hope this episode has given you something to think about and consider when you are experiencing these symptoms that I've described to you. Don't panic and just go with the flow, rest. And if it does persist, like I've said many times, then I would certainly recommend that you go and visit a healthcare professional just to put your mind at rest and get that additional guidance that you need. Well, we're now going to move into the next segment of the show, which is this week's channeling from the world of spirit, which sees me becoming a vessel for spirit to bring their wisdoms and communications through. But just slightly ahead of doing that, I'd just like to touch base with you all, see how you are all doing. Have you experienced any energy upgrades or any changes in your persona or vibration? I know I certainly have, and I would put this down to, as many of you would have heard last week's episode, we were talking about the filming locations that we've been to, myself and my co-host Christina Bloom, and we was talking about all of these interactions that we had. And of course, because we were following our guidance from Spirit, we were tuning into that passion to do this type of work and to record these shows. I feel personally that we shifted consciousness, we shifted awareness and went into a new version of ourselves. And what I mean by this is I feel we've had some energetic upgrades, because having come back home, back to reality, if you like, I've kind of hit the ground running. And there's been an abundance of clients, there's been abundance of work and processing to do and sorting things out. And it's just been non-stop work. But it's been fun, it's been enjoyable, and it's been making my heart sing. So I've noticed these changes in a positive direction coming in. Also, for those of you that aren't aware, I did have some time in hospital earlier on in the year. I had an operation, and I had to have this wound dressed every other day by the nurses and the district community nurses. And anyway, I feel completely blessed because I can finally say that I'm healed. They've discharged me from those services, and I'm completely grateful for all the help, the guidance, the support, mentally, emotionally, and obviously physically, to get me through that period. I did have to have some time off work, as most people do, in order to heal. And that was a blessing in itself, because it enabled me to reassess where I was at in every facet of my life. And I saw that a gift in strange wrapping paper, if that makes sense. But going back to what I was saying, this week, or should I say last week, I was discharged. And so the feeling, the elation and that excitement that, yes, I can have a shower, I can have a bath, I can go swimming. And you know what, I feel a sense of freedom, and I can push a little bit further. However, I am aware of the lessons that I learned in the situation, because as you know, I work very, very hard. And so I saw this as a bit of a lesson from the universe to slow me down, to get me to reassess and also set some healthy boundaries. So even though that I can steam ahead with all of these projects and things, I have got to be aware of factoring in time for myself and getting that balance right. So I'm aware of that this time round. So that's what I've been up to. And I hope you've witnessed some changes around yourselves as well. Do let me know. Anyway, we're going to move into this week's channeling from the world of spirit. So sit back, relax and enjoy.
It is an absolute honor to come forward today. We have been elected to speak for the collective. Our message to you all today is to shine bright and stop putting your vibration down. A lot of you are consciously aware of what society demands of you, your time, your attention, your values, your belief systems, and therefore you shut yourself down, keeping yourself small. And it's about time somebody told you that this is not who you truly are. Who you are is a unique individual, one that should shine brightly, doing what feels right to you, where you don't have to second guess and overthink, where you just are, you're living in that moment. That is who you are meant to be. So it is our intention to remind you of this fact and to encourage you, no matter how strange, peculiar, or unusual your ideas, your concepts, your communications are, you are to express them, for it is this unique and individual vibration that is needed in the collective consciousness. With all of this being said, we would also like to encourage you to connect with other people. A lot of you that are listening to this transmission will feel slightly alienated for understanding your own uniqueness, and therefore you keep yourself small and you do not integrate into society or extend your vibration out to others. Again, we would like to encourage you to get out and about more often than not. And if you have the opportunity to speak to another individual, whether you know them personally or you do not, we encourage you to reach out and have a conversation. You will find that there will be a blending and a healing that occurs in those special sacred moments. So it is your duty to reach out and connect to your other brothers and sisters from the Soul Fractal Collective. As we always say, you are all connected to one another. So by being this way inclined, you are extending the hand of recognition to all those around you, regardless of their race, color, creed, or their mindset. We encourage you to speak and to communicate, not just on a vocal or mental level, but also on an energetic level, and this will only occur when you step forward and have the courage to do so. It is our intention to also communicate with you today, to encourage you all to bring forward your beautiful gifts that you have been bestowed with. A lot of you hide them away for fear again of what others think, say, or do with you having these qualities. Our encouragement today is for you to stand strong in your truth and to give yourself moments where you can focus your time and attention on these unique qualities and skills that you have. The world needs it right now. The world needs that uplift and shift into new vibrations where it is going to prosper and flourish. And you will all start to begin to notice the changes within your own environment, as these changes that we speak about are occurring right now in the consciousness. You will notice people will have a different understanding. People will have a different vibration, and they will also have a curious mind in who you are and what you do. And this is because that collective conscious souls reuniting vibration is already in place. And these words we share with you today are to give you that encouragement, that upliftment to enable you to follow through and connect with other people by doing this. We would also like to talk to you about following your heart. Most of you spend most of your time in your minds thinking about what was, what shall be, and what hasn't happened yet. And in doing that, you put the brakes on the proceedings and stop yourself from experiencing the beauty and abundance that is literally, quite literally, under your nose. A lot of you are too consumed in your thoughts to even recognize this. So connecting with the heart vibration will enable you to accept what is and what is meant for you and what you're meant to give and receive, and get into the balance and flow of life, where you have previously been encouraged to remain small, hide yourself away, and also be a slave in order to serve the society that is holding you in a space of smallness and resentfulness. So now's the time to step out of that conditioning and move into a vista of opportunity that is not only going to benefit yourself, but one and all, everybody benefits by you having this beautiful connection and understanding that you're part of the collective consciousness. We would like to encourage you all to spend moments in time for contemplation, and we would like to term this phase of contemplation meditation, because it is in these quiet spaces that you can debunk some of the nonsense, the noise, and the frustrations that you've been carrying around in your vibration. Meditation also allows you to be an open channel and vessel for inspiration, guidance, and to receive high vibrational frequency codes into your vibration, to enable you to expand and grow into new vistas. We'd also like to encourage you to watch the foods and drinks that you consume. Trust your intuition instead of following that cycle of repetitive behaviors. We want you to feel into what you feel you need, your body needs, what sustenance it needs and requires to be its full potential. Now, most of you will have, like we say, habits where this is concerned, and you'll be eating foods that are naturally lowering your vibration or keeping you sluggish or small. We want to eradicate that out of your vibration. The only way we could do that is by giving you influence whilst you're in meditation. So the next time you go to the supermarket or have something to eat or drink, we want you to trust into the feeling of that product, whether you're in alignment with it or whether it repels you from purchasing that item. But know this, you will be safe, you will be healed, you will be grounded, and you will be inspired, as long as you continue to flourish and grow and allow the true essence of who you are to open up and shine. As we say, your world, Mother Earth, requires you to do this at this moment in time, because it will have a knock-on effect, and it will encourage others to do the same, which, when a vast amount of people fall into this vibrational alignment, then the Earth will change dramatically. Some would call this process heaven on earth, and we say to you that heaven never really went on earth. It was the conditioning that stopped you from seeing and experiencing it. It is already here. It is a concept. It is a vibrational alignment. It is a frequency. And a lot of you have come out of alignment with it. So your perceptions of heaven on earth are very limited. And when we say that you follow the guidance that we have suggested to you in this transmission, you will find pockets of earth opening up to you. Colors will seem more vivid. Sounds will appear more harmonious and louder. And also you'll feel comfortable, and you'll be living and walking a path of least resistance with that propulsion of love that is guiding and inspiring you in every single moment. We hope this communication has given you something to maybe consider and think about as you move into every and each and every moment within your life. We do have one more thing to communicate with you, and this is the fact that we would like to encourage you all to help people. If you see an opportunity to help someone, we advise you to go for it, regardless of how ridiculous you may feel, look, or what others say, because you are literally passing on that emotional and energetic baton of love and light. And this is where it spreads, and people can then pick up that baton and follow on from your example. It takes one bright and beautiful soul to put this into motion. So move beyond the restrictions of the limitations and the conditioning that you've all received, whether you realize it or not. It has happened to you, but now is the time to move beyond those limited thoughts, those limited belief systems, and to live your truth authentically. Thank you so much for listening. We send you our love and healing, and we look forward to coming back very soon. There is now one more communicator that wishes to have a few words with you.
My name is Gwendolyn, and I have come with words that will inspire and guide you. These words are to encourage you to allow yourself to experience love by holding space in your heart, regardless of all of the traumas that you may have gone through in your life, connected with your emotions and your heart center. We want you to allow yourself to be open, to give and receive love in such a beautiful flowing manner. Remove all judgments, remove all past belief systems, and allow yourself to flow with this vibration. Your life and the life of others will open up tremendously, and they will shift and grow, and you will find that you will make the beautiful connections that you need in your life, both in the way of friendships and also romantic partnerships. It is up to you to create that heart space by trusting, by forgetting what has happened prior to this occasion, and just allowing yourself to be in that heart presence will in fact open you up beyond your wildest dreams. We want you to trust those stirrings of the heart and to follow through with those magnetic pullings, callings from your heart chakra, as this is the true vibration in which we wish you to follow. We want you to consider your heart vibration as a compass, a guidance system that will take you to where you need to be and connect with the people you need to have around you, as we say in friendships and also in romantic relationships. So we hope this information has given you something else to consider and embrace to make your life a beautiful one, as it truly is and always has been designed to be. Move out of your own way. Simply allow and trust the process. We thank you for listening. Goodbye for now.
That was a wonderful connection and channeling from the world of spirit. And fascinating to hear about the encouraging words to us to shine our light brighter, because society has placed demands on us and they can be quite overwhelming at times. So stop keeping yourself small. So that was wonderful to hear that. Be present as well, rather than getting stuck in your past or trying to project into your future. And there's a need for us to express ourselves more, whatever channel you feel right for you, whether that's art, communicating with people, music, dancing, fashion, whatever it is. We need to express ourselves more, and also to connect with others and integrate more in society, because many of us that are maybe of a sensitive nature find ourselves having lots of alone time because either some of these old belief systems or patterns that we hold dear in our subconscious mind. So to have those encouraging words to help us move forward was very much appreciated at this moment in time. Also, recommended moments of meditation to gain clarity, to gain that sacred space, and also to allow ourselves to receive the energetic upgrades and inspiration to come into our consciousness via the gift of meditation. So that's always encouraging to hear. And I did like what Spirit said about helping someone, even if you're the only person that does that. When you see an opportunity, do it, because you will be spreading that baton of light and it will get passed on and passed on and passed on. And then hearing the second communicator talk about holding space in your heart to give and receive love and remove all judgments. Only you can make this heart space. I'm sure you'll agree with me. That was very on point, very well received, and very much needed, hearing all of those communications today. So I'd like to personally thank Spirit for bringing that forward. So now we're going to move into the next segment of the show, which is this week's energy forecast reading. So sit back, relax, take some notes if you wish, and enjoy this week's forecast reading. Hello, my name is Glenn Boddice and I'm a spiritual medium, and welcome to this week's energy forecast reading for the week commencing Monday the 16th of June 2025. Now, those of you that watched me work before will know that I connect with my spirit team and also consult the wisdom of the angel tarot cards. So what I'm about to do is just shuffle the pack and allow a card to come out for this week's forecast reading. So here is your card for this week's reading. I'm now going to link into the vibration of this. First of all, I'm feeling a lot of pressure around my shoulders. So I'm interpreting this to be easy, be gentle with yourself. Don't put yourself under too much pressure this week. Go with the flow. I'm also sensing that this week, you'll also need to pull up on your energy reserves and have that perseverance to keep on keeping on, keep going, despite the opinions of naysayers. Keep going. I also sense that there's going to be some interaction from Spirit with you all this week, because I'm feeling gentle caressing of my cheek. And I feel as though this is your family members, spirit guides or helpers drawing close to you this week and just giving you that reassurance, letting you know that you're not on your own. You are safe, you are protected, and you are being encouraged and guided along the way. However, you have the choice of free will. So you have got to make the ultimate decisions and you have got to commit to those. But this is the end of the free version of the weekly forecast reading. If you would like to see the entirety of this week's forecast reading, then you can do that by subscribing. And as a subscriber, what you will receive is the full version of the weekly forecast reading. You will also receive the audio for the weekly radio show, and also you'll receive 10% off all of my spiritual services there. So this includes all of the readings there for you to benefit from. And also you will receive new updates and information and news of what's happening with myself and the services that I provide, and also the events that I take part in. You'll hear all about that ahead of everybody else. And this is because you're a subscriber to Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium. So you can find a link either above or below this video, where by clicking on the link, you can then become a subscriber to reap all of the benefits that I've described to you. So I look forward to having you on this journey with me as a Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium subscriber. Thank you for taking time to watch this video and supporting the work that Spirit and myself work together in doing so. I hope you've enjoyed this week's show and it's inspired you in some way. If you have any show topics or you'd like to share your story with the show, contact me at www.glennbodicespiritualmedium.com. It'd be fantastic to hear from you. Anyway, take care. God bless. Have a fantastic week. Thank you for listening to From Beyond. For more information about what products and services Glenn provides, go to Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium